Welcome everyone. My name is Simon Groot and today we are going to talk about the basics of personal finance. Well, personal finance is a very interesting topic because it touches us in every single financial decision we made. So for instance, whenever we would like to purchase a car, whenever we would like to have a mortgage, or maybe whenever we would like to save money for our children, so personal finance is at utmost importance for us. But let me start this presentation with the agenda I would like to actually touch with you. So first we are going to discuss what is finance. So this is a very important concept that we would like to start to discuss. So what is finance about? Then we are going to start talking about the world financial trends. Then we are going to move on into the factors affecting earnings and factors affecting our expenses. Finally, we are going to start discussing some special cases of personal finance or personal financial decisions we have to make. And finally, we are going to talk about how to establish financial goals for different stages we are going to live when we get out of the school. So let's start with what is finance. So finance is a social science, and it's an area of finance that actually deals with the behavior of human beings in economic transactions. So what is the main goal of finance? The main goal of finance is to gather some money at the cheapest cost, invested the money, getting the higher return as possible, and create value in this way in the long term. So why in the long term? Because if you focus yourself in the short term, probably you will have or you could have unethical behavior that maximize the value creation in the short term, but it's impossible to continue with this unethical behavior in the long term. So that's the reason why it is very important to establish here in the long term. Yes, finance is a social science, and as it is a social science, it is impossible, absolutely impossible, that we could actually draw or establish a single law. Well, probably you may think that there is a law in finance. What it is, that everything that comes up will go down eventually, and everything that went down eventually will go up. But nobody knows when, and nobody knows by how magnitude this is going to happen. And these are the two key questions here. Anyway, what are the world financial trends that could actually influence our personal finance? First of all, is our career choices. And our career choices are deal with education. So yes, education pays. But the main question is, in which of the layer you would like to be? Would you like to be in the first one, in which you don't have a graduate diploma, and definitely you could earn as much as $25,000 per year? Or maybe you would like to be in the PhD area, in which you would like to have like $90,000 per year or more. Well, actually that depends on whatever makes you happy. So it's not only about money, it's also about whatever makes you happy. You have to actually make a choice that is related to whatever your passion lies. So your passion is very important driver for your career choice, because you're going to be a very good one. And whenever you are a very good professional, so therefore you're going to have a very high earnings. So this is a very important point, career choices. Second trend, the shift of consumption. Whenever we talk about the shift of consumption, we talk about the fact that in the past, like 50 years ago, people used to spend the vast majority of their budget in basic stuff, such as, for instance, apparel, housing, food, beverages, tobacco, and whatever. And right now, they start taking care of more advanced necessities, sort of saying, such as personal products, transportation, communication, education and recreation, healthcare. So they are starting to thinking more about their future, and this is a very important point. Okay, so you have to also start thinking about more endurable and more important long-term products and services that will actually improve in a meaningful way your way of living. Another important trend is low savings rate. And here, unfortunately, in the world, we are going to have a very low savings rate, and it's getting lower. So what you should do? Go against the trend. So you always have to start saving money all the time. So you have to start saving money for the future, as we are going to talk about shortly. So the worst case scenario that you should avoid as much as possible is the one that is being pictured in this joke. The fact that you have to start your professional career without being indebted. And this is a very important point. So try to finish your studies. Try to finish your master's degree, your undergraduate diploma, without being indebted as much as possible. And if you have to be indebted, well, this is a proper debt. But what is not a proper debt is the debt that comes from credit cards. Okay, because credit cards are not an extension of your income. These are debt, and you have to avoid as much as possible. So, what are the factors that affect your earnings? Well, as I told you before, career choices. But not only career choices, also your ability to find employment. Because one thing is whatever you was prepared professionally for your future, and another different issue is how you sell yourself to potential employers. More than this, what is your ability to advance? The vast majority of people think that they get a job into a company, make a career job in that particular company, so they made it. No, this is not the most suitable way of doing it. The most suitable way of doing it is to swing between different companies, going, like an spiral, okay, moving between different job positions and different companies. Not only will provide you with higher income in every single negotiation, but also it will provide you with more experience, and it will provide you with more hunger, because every time you get out of your comfort zone, and whenever you get out of your comfort zone, there is an opportunity to actually make things in a better way. So at the end, everything boils down to your standard of living. So the question is, how you would like to live in the future? Have you think about that? So here are 4 different advices I would like to actually leave to you in this capsule. The first one is earnings diversification, and earnings diversification is probably the most important lesson of personal finance. Yes, you have to try to sell your professional work, okay, as in the shortened times possible at the highest price possible. So you should be able to sell your professional skills for the very short time at a very high price, in many different settings. Okay, so stop thinking that you are working for a certain company, and start thinking that you are working for different companies. So different companies are your clients. So in this way, you are going to start thinking like a earnings diversification. So this is a very important lesson in finance. Second lesson is time diversification. As I told you before, you are going to pass through different stages in your life. So once you get graduated from your master's degree until you get retired, you are going to pass through different phases, like 5 different phases. Okay? So the question is, should I save money for each one of those phases? The answer is yes, you should. Why? Because whenever we would like to purchase a car, we need to have the first installment. Whenever we would like to, for instance, purchase a house, we need to have the first installment. Whenever we would like to educate our children, we would like to have what? Money for their education. So why not saving money for different time frames? Do you know that if you would have invested $1 in 1926 in the New York Stock Exchange small cap stocks, in 1996, 70 years later, you will accumulate $4,500 per every single dollar you had invested in 1926. So, in other words, for 70 years time frame, you will have an enormous amount of profitability. Yes, you would say, but Sam, probably I'm going to be dead by that time. Yes, but why not lefting actually a very important investment fund to your grandsons or grandsons? Why not? We don't have to be and we don't have to think in a very selfish way all the time. Then you have asset class diversification. This is the common financial wisdom that tells you that you have to invest not only in stocks, but also in bonds, also in commodities, also in currencies, and whatever. Why? Because this provides you diversification. This is pretty fine, pretty good, and this works out for short-term investments too, and long-term. Constant savings. This is very important because the only way to put forward the time diversification strategy is to have constant savings. So you have to save money all the time, because in this way will give you the possibility to achieve time diversification. And I'm talking about having a huge amount of saving. You can start saving in very short amounts, okay? Because a very short amount put it or invested in a long term will provide you a very interesting amount. There are some other factors that are affecting expenses, like common sayings or common, let's say, paradigms, okay, that definitely are not properly used, such as I deserve this, why not, should I spend, it's my life, who else care about that, you only live once, so we have to take as much as possible, take as much as pleasure as possible right now in the short term. Tomorrow is another day, so who cares? It's only money, and money cannot buy you or buy happiness, which is a fallacy, by the way, because money can actually light the weight you have to bear with many problems in the future. So whenever you have a lot of problems that are coming from different sides of your life, so money can help you discharge all these different problems as much as possible, and then concentrate on the ones in which you actually should concentrate, because these are the ones that make you really happy. So definitely it's very useful. So what is the bottom line? The bottom line is that you don't have to be impulsive in your expenses. And the key word or the key phrase or the key question that you have to think about is, should I actually need that particular service or product? This is the way in which these two guys live. The first one we know is Warren Buffett, and the second is the founder of Facebook. And as you may see, those guys, they are living way below their economic possibilities. So for instance, Warren Buffett is still living in a $30,000 house he purchased like 40 years ago, or maybe 50. So definitely they are not living in their economic possibilities. They are living way below their economic possibilities. There are some factors that are affecting expenses. So for instance, habits. Okay, so you have to be consistent also with your habits. So you have to actually try to dismiss all these different paradigms, mental paradigms that are affecting your expenses, but also the habits that are affecting negatively your expenses. Okay? For instance, you have to learn how to establish financial goals. You have to be honest. You have to improve your personal image. Okay? You have to conduct a sporty and healthy life. This is very important, because if you do not exercise or if you do not eat healthy, what is going to happen? What is going to happen is in the future you are going to spend a lot of money trying to cope with all these different diseases you may have. So you have to start thinking about the fact that having a healthy and a sporty and healthy life is going to help you to save money in the future. Okay? Also, you have to cultivate good attitudes, because it's not only about the habits, it's not only about the paradigms you may have, but it's also about the attitudes. So you have to be proactive and creative, okay? Because this will make a difference all the time. You have to start thinking in a multidimensional way. So for instance, what is the best case scenario I have? What is the worst case scenario I have? So for instance, if I would like to be a musician, and I know that becoming a musician is not a really very easy profession, in the sense that I have to be a very good singer, and I have to have very good promoters in the sense that they can enhance my career in the future. Well, anyway, there are many factors that are affecting that particular career. So the question is, what about if I'm not if I'm not going to be as successful as I think I will be? What you should do? Well, in this particular case, what you should do is to try to study a complementary career that can foster the first one. So, for instance, business administration. So, business administration is going to help you the first career you have. So, if the first one does not work out, so still you have the second one. Okay? And if the first works out, well, definitely the second one can enhance the first one because you can actually manage your own career too. So this is the way in which I would like you to think about the future in a multidimensional way. The best case scenario, what should I do? The worst case scenario, what should I do? And in the middle grounds, what should I do? There are some special cases that you still have to think about. So for instance, whenever you become in love. Okay, perhaps this will sound you a little bit awkward, but if you think that he is the right one, okay, so the question is, well, how much debt he's having right now? What is his financial rating in the system? Should I get married? Should I get married with a financial contract of division of goods? Should be a joint contract? Should I talk to him about these issues? What should I do? And this is very important because actually a successful marriage is not only about love or feelings, it's also about affinities, about what is the lifestyle I would like to have in the future with my partner. If I would like to have a moderate lifestyle in which I save money, but I also expend money in things that I'm thinking that these things are made me happy, me and my family, but my partner does not think like this, so this is a potential fight. So definitely a greedy person with a generous one is not a right combination. Perhaps this is the bottom line. What about if your relationship does not work out? Well, actually you have the possibility of getting divorced. And in the possibility of getting divorced, here I lay out many advices that you could pursue, but the bottom line is that you always have to think about children, because children they are passing through a very difficult situation about seeing their parents break up their relationship. So why you should actually make them suffer with a lower economic way of living or a lower way of living? So it's not necessary to do so. So the bottom line is always start thinking about your children. Okay? If you walk out of the front door with your pockets empty, no problem, because this is going to be a challenge for you. This is going to be an opportunity for you to actually make even more money than before, and you're going to be proud of you. What about your children? Well, concerning your children, you have to actually two different issues to pay attention to. So the first one is how your children behave. What is their natural tendency to do things? Okay, so in this way you have to get to know very good your children, and you have to teach them how to use the money. Yes, you have to talk money. You have to talk to them about money, about how to save it, about how to expend it. This is very important issues. And the second area in which you should pay attention to is at the example you are providing to your children whenever they see you use the money. So how do you use the money? What are your expenses habits? Okay, because like it or not, your children will copy many of the attitudes you have. So this is very important that you start thinking about how you are going to behave. If you live enough to get retired because you actually do not save the official amount of money that the system, the financial system or the government system actually force the companies to put a personal pension fund for you, but also because you were very smart guy in the sense that you save extra money for that in a way of investments, because you thought that actually the pension fund, the compulsory pension funds you will have in the future is only 1/4 or maybe 1/3 of the total amount of wealth that you are going to be at that is going to be at your disposal whenever you have 65 years old. So then, guy, you are a very smart guy, because this is the way in which you should think about. So the future is about what? It's about whatever you have done in the past. So you save money, extra money, or invest extra money. Diversify your earnings, so definitely in the future you're going to have more money to get retired. And if you are like this in that particular situation at 65 years old, so the question is, what should I do? Should I retire it? Should I withdrawing in one single installment all the money I had already saved, or should I withdraw it in a monthly installments? So that depends on your skills and abilities to invest in money. But something you have to remember: each one of these two possibilities, they do have downsides. The first one, the fact that you make a very bad investment and you lose everything. The second one, the possibility of actually not having enough money to live, which I hope you are not going to be in that particular situation, because you have been a very smart guy, because you have invested through your whole life in alternative investments. And you, if you are a children right now, if you are living in the house of your parents right now, so pose these questions to you and try to answer these and to answer those questions. Am I greedy because my family is also greedy? What are my family financial habits? Do I agree with them? And you always have to act consequently to the way you really think. Okay? What is the bottom line? The bottom line is that sometimes financial habits are inherited, and we never think about whether they are good or bad habits. Okay? And you always have to think about those habits. Okay? This is very important. Finally, these are the 5 stages you are going to live whenever you get out of your master degree. So if you study a master degree and then you get out average age of 25 years old, so then you are going to get retired at 65 years old. So the question is what you are going to do with these 40 years of useful life. You're going to pass through an early career, mid-career, peak accumulation, pre-retirement, and retirement. And what are your financial goals in each one of those stages? More than this, what are going to be your personal goals? Because you have to match your personal goals with your financial goals. And you have to write down the possible strategies you could follow in each one of those stages. So the time to start thinking about this is right now. You shouldn't waste a minute more. Thank you very much for listening, and see you in the next capsule.